Good evening, you're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Faye Kwan. The government is considering a congestion charge in 3 major cities to ease traffic, pending further studies and cabinet approval. According to preliminary findings, the measure could reduce traffic by up to 20% in Kuala Lumpur if implemented. Federal Territories Minister Dr. Zaliha Mustafa told the Dewan Rakyat that international cities have seen traffic drop by 10 to 30% with similar measures. Kuala Lumpur, Georgetown and Johor Bahru have been identified for possible implementation. The government is considering several congestion charge methods used internationally, including charging vehicles based on number plate recognition as seen in New York, electronic road pricing implemented in Singapore, where charges vary by zones and peak hours, as well as road space rationing practiced in Jakarta and Beijing, where vehicles with odd and even number plates alternate road access on different days. Studies show traffic congestion costs 20 billion ringgit annually, but a charge could bring long-term economic benefits. To ease the impact, logistics and tourism vehicles may get exemptions or discounts. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim reaffirmed his administration's commitment to end direct negotiations for government contracts. He says all procurement must follow a transparent tender process overseen by the Finance Ministry and with no exceptions. Anwar confirmed that his administration has not allowed direct negotiations for government contracts since it took office over 2 years ago. He addressed concerns about corruption and financial mismanagement, particularly in relation to the controversial Littoral Combat Ship project. He described this project as an example of how such opaque dealings have cost the nation billions and put the country's defence at risk. Anwar vowed to ensure that all future purchases are made transparently and at reasonable prices, especially those critical to national defence. The LRT3 in the Klang Valley is set to begin operations on September 30th. The Transport Ministry confirms that the project is now 98% complete, with final testing phases scheduled to begin in the coming months. Spanning from Bandar Utama to Johan Setia, the LRT3 is expected to enhance connectivity across the Klang Valley. The project will be officially handed over to Prasarana Malaysia Berhad on July 31st, before moving into critical testing phases to ensure passenger safety. The rail system will undergo 2 key testing phases, a 75-day trial run beginning in April, followed by a 60-day trial operation in July. The Transport Ministry says it remains on schedule, but final approvals from the Land Public Transport Agency will be crucial in ensuring a smooth rollout. The Malaysia Education Blueprint, launched in 2013 to reshape the national education system, is now nearing its conclusion this year. Dr. Logendra Stanley Ponya from Taylor's University evaluates its achievements and identifies where gaps remain.
There are several issues that have benefited us, or several quantifiable improvements, I would say. So things like enrollment rate, it was very good. Malaysia is one of the better countries with enrollment. The enrollment now is almost perfect, 100% in primary education. The reading scores among primary school kids, specifically around year 5 and 6, especially when UPSR was put to rest, and then they started introducing several learning assessment tools. Many of the students' reading competency had indicated has gone up. Especially in the language in SPM, results have gone up marginally, but still in the positive trend. However, having said that, the indices for international standards have dropped. Our PISA and TIMSS, which are 2 prominent world benchmark for education, particularly for those who are 8-year-old and 15-year-old, has drastically dropped. In fact, in the 1990s, we were top 1/3 of the world population. Now we are the bottom quarter of the world population. In the Malaysian curriculum, all of us know that at 15 years, we chose our specialization, which pretty much decides where we're going to end up the rest of our lives. So if you're not performing at your peak by 15, you are going to be certainly disadvantaged. So those are the disadvantages that initially the blueprint was forced to tackle. One of the promises is in order to move forward with teachers, they expected to have at least 20% of the teachers to be trained from another setting. And subsequently, that has not taken place, obviously due to change of scenario and change of government.
Moving forward, Dr. Logendra stresses the need to foster independent learners. This is through a combination of restructured assessments, progressive teaching, and integration of technology.
There are two things we can consider looking at, right? One is the restructuring of the assessment procedure or protocol, and two, introduction of technology, because they can go hand in hand. So one part that Ministry of Education, MOE, or MOHE also in collaboration, we need to have an outreach arm, because there's constant pressure every time when you introduce something. So there must be a significant effort made by the Ministry of Education to educate the public on the actions they take. So therefore, the resistance will be, even if there is resistance, it will be well-informed resistance, not arbitrary resistance. The next thing is have better trained teachers. The teachers sometimes are an obstacle for progressive change, because who wants to change the status quo, right? There's going to come a time where human intelligence and robotic or artificial intelligence have to integrate. You come up with the innovative part of the component, and AI comes in with the part of knowledge. So together you produce product. Like we are already getting symptoms of it in our program. Students brainstorm ideas using AI to generate artifacts of PowerPoint, using artifacts of articles. So this is going to become a standard feature. And the challenge here is not so much whether students can do it. It's more whether the teachers are going to incorporate this new trans-cognitive education theory.
We'll be back with more after the break. Stay tuned.
Kerap menggaru kulit kepala disebabkan keluh mumur, masalahnya lebih mendalam. Gunalah Head and Shoulders menembusi 5 lapisan untuk membasmi keluh mumur dan kegatalan. Bebas keluh mumur sehingga 100%. Head and Shoulders diuji secara dermatologi.
This is digital karma.
Kalau aku tak bunuh dia, kita yang mati. Bukan aku tak sedar. Orang yang aku tembak tu penjahat. Aku akan bunuh Ibu Sarah.
This is what been missing this whole time.
They need a face, Iman. You.
One Cent Thief, Season 2. Stream episod baru setiap Jumaat on demand di Astro Citra dan Astro Go.
Welcome back. Israel has begun releasing more Palestinian prisoners pending the verification of 4 bodies of hostages handed over by Hamas. This marks the final exchange of the first phase of the ceasefire deal, which is set to end on Saturday. So far, over 400 Palestinians held in Israeli jails have arrived in Gaza. Another 97 were deported to Egypt, 37 arrived in the West Bank, and 5 more in occupied East Jerusalem. The Palestinian Prisoners' Media Office, citing the head of the nursing department at a hospital in Khan Yunis, said many of the released prisoners were suffering from skin diseases. They added that the former detainees had been subjected to severe beatings focused on their chest area, resulting in fractured ribs. Israel had earlier withheld the release of more captives until it verified the identities of all 4 bodies handed over by Hamas. It comes after the group provided the body of a Palestinian woman from Gaza instead of Israeli hostage Shiri Bibas last Thursday. The incident sparked fury in Israel, prompting Hamas to admit it was a mistake and return Bibas's body the following day. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer says there is no more important relationship for his country than that with the United States. He made the comments during a visit to Washington, D.C., where he held a meeting with business leaders at the residence of the British ambassador to the US.
So we want to strike a new partnership. We share the view that our best days lie ahead. And, you know, taking out a chainsaw isn't quite my style, but we are stripping away red tape and bureaucracy. We are reforming permitting, getting things built, reducing barriers to investment and growth, and we're open for business, open for investment, and we're determined to help US innovators thrive in the United Kingdom. So my message is we want to work with you, we want to welcome you to Britain, we want a new partnership, because our history shows that when we work together, great things happen.
Starmer is in the US for a meeting with President Donald Trump. Ahead of his trip, Starmer had urged Washington to provide a security backstop to any future European peacekeepers in Ukraine, saying only that would offer Kiev a lasting peace rather than a temporary ceasefire, and that Britain would play their part in any peacekeeping role in Ukraine.
Japan's birth rate has fallen to a record low in 2024 for the 9th consecutive year. Government data shows that a total of 720,988 babies were born last year, down 5% from the year before. The numbers underscore the dwindling population in Japan, despite efforts by former Prime Minister Fumio Kishida's administration to boost childbearing. This is alongside a record number of 1.62 million deaths, meaning that more than 2 people passed away for every new baby born. The high cost of education, stagnant economy and changing lifestyles have discouraged many young couples from starting families. Latest data from Japan draws a sharp comparison to neighbouring South Korea, where the fertility rate rose in 2024 for the first time in nearly a decade. A NASA satellite the size of a dishwasher was launched from Florida on Wednesday to identify where water, a precious resource for lunar missions, resides on the moon's surface. The SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket lifted off from the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, carrying NASA's Lunar Trailblazer orbiter. The Lunar Trailblazer spacecraft was built by Lockheed Martin's LMTN Space Division. The satellite was a secondary payload on board the rocket. The lunar surface is often thought of as arid, but previous measurements have found the presence of some water, even in warmer sunlit locations. In cold and permanently shadowed places at the lunar poles, it has long been hypothesized that there could be significant amounts of water ice. Lunar Trailblazer, which weighs around 200 kilograms and measures about 11.5 feet or 3.5 meters wide when its solar panels are fully deployed, is being sent to find and map its water on the moon's surface. For future moon exploration, including potential long-term lunar bases staffed by astronauts, lunar water could be of vital importance because it could be processed not only as a drinking supply, but also into breathable oxygen and hydrogen fuel for rockets. That report wraps up AWANI Tonight. Do check out our web portal, keeping you informed on the critical events shaping our world, all in one place at international.astroawani.com. That's all for now. I'm Faye Kwan. Thank you for watching and good night.